Hello, my friend, and thank you for pressing play on this video on how to stay fit, how to stay positive, and how to recover faster from an injury. I'm Caroline Jordan, your certified health and fitness coach, and with me today is yoga expert who specializes in yoga for injuries, Shannon Yeager. Shannon, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about injury recovery.
We are always excited to have special expert guests here on the channel. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your story and what brought you to be a yoga specialist helping people move with injuries?
Yeah, so I started teaching yoga in 2015, and I was really drawn to it because it helped me personally be less stressed out, be able to feel my body more. Also, I like tons of other types of movements. So, if there's a sport out there, I'm willing to try it once. Sometimes that means that I get injured. So through yoga, it's really been a journey to learn when I do get injured, how do I let myself heal? It's been a process that I'm still learning, I'm still going through. I've had a few different injuries, from a torn wrist cartilage to currently dealing with a torn shoulder rotator cuff, and I'm just starting to view every injury as an opportunity to learn more about my body and hopefully help my students as well so that they can recover quicker and just develop their practice.
And I think we're all with you on that journey, Shannon. I think, the human body is our home and it's not immune to injuries. And that's why, this viewer and myself we're here trying to learn how we can continuously evolve and be kind to our bodies and learn how to move in a way that's healthy and supportive for injury recovery and continued activity and longevity. So, we are definitely there with you. You are not alone, and you are not alone if you are trying to overcome a physical limitation or an injury challenge in your life.
Absolutely. We are here to support you. We want to be part of that community. And Caroline, I know you've also struggled with some injuries, and it's impacted the way you move and also the way you teach. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was raised in dance and fitness. I started teaching with my mom when I was 15 years old, so teaching group fitness at 15. I was really lucky because throughout most of my 20s, I had little aches and pains, but really no big injuries. I was working full-time in San Francisco as a fitness professional, and in 2016, I came across my first real injury, which was a sesamoid injury. And if you know anything about the sesamoid injury, it's a pretty serious foot injury.
It's a hard one to recover from.
Big time. And my whole world just stopped. I had no idea how to operate in my career or the things that I loved. I couldn't even socialize because I didn't know how to go out without wearing shoes. So I shifted and I started to create videos online for other people who weren't unable to use their feet. Hurt Foot Fitness was born. I created an online program for people with foot and ankle injuries. And now it's really enabled me to help others who are in the same boot, pun intended. And, it took a really long time to heal from that injury. And it was so challenging mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I'm still kind of dealing with coming out of it and learning to properly use my feet now that they're healed. Injuries take such a huge toll on you. And they're so traumatic. They are so traumatic for your spirit. So you don't want to just heal the physical, you also want to heal the spiritual and emotional parts of yourself that are scared to move again, that are scared to trust your body again, that don't know how much is too much, how little is too little. You really do have to surround yourself with support.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's why yoga is so cool, because yoga doesn't just address the physical, it also addresses the mental and spiritual.
It absolutely does. And, I think especially in our culture and in this day and age, you may be doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, seeing, all of these professionals or just people who are doing these amazing things with their body, and that leads to wanting to do movement from your ego. And ultimately, when you're injured, it's not healthy. A lot of times it's not safe to move from that place. And so when an injury happens, you really have to learn how to get out of that ego space and find safe movements that work for you. And when I injured my wrist and also, with my shoulder injury, it was very eye-opening in yoga because for a very long time, almost a year and a half, I couldn't weight bear on my wrist. So that meant I couldn't do plank and I couldn't do downward dog. And I was actually in the middle of a yoga teacher training at the time where we were doing chaturangas every day, many times a day. And all of a sudden, I had to get out of my ego. I couldn't push through it. I couldn't say, oh, I can do that. It's no problem. I had to find a way to move that was safe for my body. And the more that I started to move from an authentic place that was safe for me, the more connected I really started to feel. And I also realized that I was surrounded by a community who was supportive of that. And if I didn't know how to move, if I didn't know how to make it safe, I have a support system like Caroline or like Dr. Allen at SDRI who can help me find a way to modify poses and move from a place that will heal.
I think it's so hard being in the fitness, wellness, diet culture where it seems that everyone is telling you to, work out harder and to make sure your workouts are, tough enough. And I think that it really does everyone a disservice because you're unable to really listen to what your body needs that day and cater your movement to that practice. And it's hard because in social media, you see the hustle culture, work harder, and then the self-care culture, like no, rest and love your body. And you want to find that balance between both. Yeah, you need to hustle to work towards your goals. It is important to put stress on your system in order to get stronger, but it's also important to rest and recover and listen to your body. And you need both to succeed. You can't be one or the other. And so it is really tough to kind of know what to listen to and how to tap into your intuition and your internal guide or compass, if you will, when it comes to not only recovering from an injury, but moving well for life. And I think that injury is a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about what your body needs in order to stay active. And then also to kind of give you more perspective when you are healthy of how to pace yourself and move with gratitude and grace and intelligence so that you don't get hurt again.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to stress the importance of rest because that's something that I've struggled with personally. In the go culture that we have, I always want to get stronger, move faster, be more flexible. And ultimately, that can really start to wear and tear on your body, especially if you're dealing with an injury. Also, it's really important to tell your fitness community, whether you're working with a fitness coach like Caroline, or whether you are taking yoga classes with me, tell your instructor what's going on in your body. It's so important so that we know how we can modify and help you through this and make sure that you're strengthening the surrounding areas and that you're not putting any undue stress on the areas that could make your injury worse.
100%.
It was definitely one of the impetuses for my YouTube channel as well, because I know both as a practitioner and with working with many students, sometimes it can be really scary to admit that you have something going on in your body that you don't like. So maybe that could be an injury, and maybe in the back of your mind I really probably shouldn't be trying to kick up into handstand today. But everyone else is trying it around you, and sometimes it makes you want to do it too, and you haven't told the teacher, hey, I'm dealing with a torn rotator cuff. Please don't do that when you have that injury. So let people know around you. Ask for support, and we'll help you modify. We're here to support you through it.
I think that brings up a really good point, is that vulnerability, Brene Brown, man. But vulnerability, being honest about where you're at with your community, with yourself. Vulnerability really is the key to healing, to transformation, to positive outcomes. Really accepting the injury, one, being open to rest and recover, being vulnerable, because I know that can be scary if you're used to moving your body. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to turn into a blueberry and I'm never going to move again, and this injuries means that's over.
I'm getting some Willy Wonka vibes right there.
Yeah, but I tell you, people think that if they get injured, they're just going to turn into mush. Their muscles will go to waste. They'll never be able to exercise ever again. But I think being vulnerable, accepting the injury, being honest with yourself and others about the injury, being okay to rest, being vulnerable with the feelings that come up around the injury, the anxiety around it, finding healthy coping mechanisms like therapy or coaches or rehab specialists, whatever they might be. But I think one of the fundamental secrets to healing from an injury is being vulnerable, being honest, and feeling the feelings instead of trying to escape them. I don't know if that resonates with you. Please comment below if it does. But as someone who works with a lot of injuries, the fear and anxiety around those injuries, the doom scrolling, the, oh my goodness, my fitness will go to mush, like all of these worst case scenarios, they really come to the surface. And I think where someone like Shannon is such an excellent expert to turn to is she can help you sit with those feelings and breathe with them, because yoga is not just the physical practice, but also the breath work and the meditation and all these great mind-body things that people need.
Yeah,
being able to sit with that, that's a healthy coping mechanism right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if you can take 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much you have during the day, I recommend in the morning when you get up, Atomic Habits is a really great book that talks about this, but habit stacking. So, for example, in the morning when I get up to make tea or coffee, I turn on my tea kettle. That small window of time that it takes my water to boil is my meditation time. So it's my time uninterrupted until the water starts boiling, where I can sit down on a mat and be completely silent and just breathe with whatever's coming up. And it's not always easy to sit, you know, and distractions will come up. That is 100% normal, but it does give you an opportunity to tune into your body, just kind of let everything else go and start to accept what might be going on for you today. And also knowing that what's going on for you today likely is not the same thing as what was going on yesterday, and it's not going to be the same thing as tomorrow. So there is this element of accepting what's going on and then moving from that place.
Yeah, so to kind of recap a little bit, I think the best way to stay positive during the injury is surround yourself with a healthy support system, find coping mechanisms that allow you to quiet the anxiety and feel what you're feeling so that you can move through them. Finding ways to stay fit safely, telling your instructor about what's going on, finding resources. And I think what's so cool about Shannon is, can you imagine trying to do yoga without downward dog or without plank? She's figured out a way, you know, just like I figured out a way to get cardio without sitting
And I have to
on a chair.
I've done her hurt foot videos even when I don't have a hurt foot, and they are an amazing workout.
They are an amazing workout.
They really are.
I think we're really opening your eyes to the other opportunities to move your body in ways you might never have explored had it not been for this injury. You know, had I not had a foot injury, I wouldn't have developed a YouTube channel. I wouldn't have developed a love for masters swimming, which is like a huge part of my life and community. And there's so many silver linings in an injury experience. So, you know, really being open, being honest, being vulnerable, accepting where you're at, surrounding yourself with support, finding healthy coping mechanisms. And I think one other thing we wanted to talk about was accelerating recovery through movement, maybe exploring, you know, the corrective exercise that your body needs in order to progress safely. So for my foot injury, I needed a lot of, you know, hip mobility, core strengthening, gait pattern adjustments, let's just say it that way. And I think for Shannon's, she needed a lot of rest and a lot of corrective exercise that Dr. Allen prescribed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just changing the way that I rotate my shoulder before I lift my arms up overhead was a game changer. So there are different patterns and different ways that you can train your body to move during these times. And ultimately, I encourage you to look at any injury you get as an opportunity to learn, because at the end of the day, it will make you stronger both mentally and physically.
100%. This is something I love about Shannon. We were speaking about this interview in advance, and she says, I love how injuries make you more resilient. I was like, that's such a cool way to put it, because I had never attached resiliency with injury recovery, but they do. You get through what you thought you could never get through. I got through years of not using my foot. And there were moments where I was like, I'm going to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm so over this. Just chop my foot off. I don't care anymore. But you get through it, and then you get to the other side, and you're like, okay, that was terribly hard. Yeah. And in the process, I learned this. I got stronger in this, and now here I am still standing, and now I can move more mindfully forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to be able to help you with your injury as well. We hope that this is inspirational for you, that it helps give you a little extra juice to keep going.
Yeah, don't give up. There's always a silver lining. So if you're struggling with an injury right now, comment below. Tell us what your frustrations are, what your challenges are. If you haven't checked out Shannon's YouTube channel, it's in the link in the description box below. So go check it out, especially if you're trying to explore yoga with any sort of injury. She's dabbling in all of the videos that specialize in any physical challenge you might face. But let us know how we can support you in the comments. And if this content was beneficial for you, we're always here for you, and sending so much love to you. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being a guest today.
Thank you, Caroline.
And friends, keep healing, keep looking for lessons within and silver linings, and we will see you soon.